Welcome to Little English Studio, where English learning meets the inspiring life stories of remarkable people who changed our world. Today, we are telling the extraordinary journey of Sake Dean Mahomed, a man born in India in 1759, who would later become one of the most unique cultural bridge builders between East and West. Though not as famous as kings, queens, or inventors, Mahomed played a pioneering role in introducing Indian traditions to Britain. He was the first Indian to publish a book in English, the first to open a curry restaurant in London, and the man who introduced the therapeutic practice of shampooing to Europe. His story is not only about food or medicine, but about courage, adaptation, and the desire to connect cultures. Sake Dean Mahomed was born in the city of Patna in Bengal during a time of political turmoil. India in the mid-18th century was undergoing immense change. The Mughal Empire was in decline, while the British East India Company was growing rapidly in power and influence. Patna was an important trading hub, known for its intellectual activity, religious diversity, and commerce. Mahomed's family was Muslim and respected in the community, but tragedy came early when his father, an officer in the Bengal army, passed away when Mahomed was still a boy. Losing a parent at a young age is difficult in any time, but for Mahomed, it became a turning point that would redirect his destiny. After his father's death, Mahomed came under the care of Captain Godfrey Evan Baker, an Irish officer serving in the East India Company's Bengal army. Captain Baker became a mentor and guardian to the young boy, offering him protection and guidance. Through this relationship, Mahomed was introduced to the world of the British colonial military, a world that was at once foreign and fascinating. He eventually joined the Bengal army as a trainee surgeon, where he learned not only medical skills, but also gained an understanding of European military discipline, organization, and cultural attitudes. This dual exposure to both Indian traditions and European practices would later allow him to serve as a bridge between two worlds. By his mid-20s, Mahomed had already seen much of colonial India through the lens of the army, but he wanted more than a life confined to military service. Inspired by his mentor, he made a bold decision. In 1782, he left India to travel to Ireland, a move almost unthinkable for an Indian at the time. Crossing the seas was rare, and for many, even forbidden by social and religious convention. But Mahomed's adventurous spirit drove him forward, and he embarked on the long voyage to Europe, a continent that would become the stage for his most important contributions. Arriving in Cork, Ireland, Mahomed faced an entirely new world. The climate, the language, the food, the customs, everything was different from his homeland. But he was intelligent, curious, and adaptable, and soon found his place in Irish society. It was in Cork that he met Jane Darley, a young Irish woman from a respectable family. Their relationship quickly deepened into love, but it was not without challenges. In the 18th century, interracial marriages were rare and often disapproved of by families and society at large. Jane's relatives opposed the union, and Mahomed knew that their relationship would never receive full acceptance, yet the two were determined. In 1786, defying convention, they eloped and married in a Protestant church. This was a radical act of love and courage, uniting two individuals from vastly different worlds. During his years in Ireland, Mahomed also made his mark in the intellectual world. In 1794, he published The Travels of Dean Mahomed, the first book written in English by an Indian author. The book took the form of a series of letters to a fictional friend, recounting his experiences growing up in India, his service in the army, and his reflections on the customs, battles, and landscapes of his homeland. What made this book so remarkable was its perspective. Europeans at the time were used to reading about India through the eyes of British officers, merchants, or missionaries. Mahomed, however, offered an insider's voice, someone born and raised in the culture he described. He introduced readers to Indian traditions, the life of soldiers, and even the intricacies of daily habits. Though the book did not achieve commercial success in its time, it was groundbreaking. Today, it is recognized as a pioneering work of post-colonial literature, giving voice to an Indian at a time when such perspectives were largely absent in English publishing. After his time in Ireland, Mahomed sought new opportunities in London. The British capital was, by the early 19th century, a bustling centre of empire, where curiosity about foreign cultures was strong among the elite. Indian fabrics, spices, and customs fascinated the upper classes. Mahomed saw an opening. In 1810, he opened the Hindustani Coffee House on George Street, which became the first Indian restaurant in Britain. His establishment offered dishes flavoured with exotic spices, prepared in the Indian style, and even provided hookahs for guests to enjoy after their meals. He advertised his restaurant as a place where the nobility and gentry could experience the true Indian taste. The coffee house was an ambitious and innovative project, but London in 1810 was not yet ready. Many people found the food too unusual, and the costs of running the restaurant were high. After only a few years, the business went bankrupt. While this was a personal disappointment for Mahomed, history would prove him a visionary. Today, Indian cuisine is deeply embedded in British culture. With thousands of curry houses across the country, curry is often considered Britain's national dish. The roots of that cultural fusion go back to Mahomed's daring venture in London, but Mahomed was not a man to give up easily. After his restaurant closed, he reinvented himself again, this time in the seaside town of Brighton. There he introduced another Indian tradition to the British elite, the art of shampooing. The word shampoo did not originally mean washing hair with soap as it does today. It came from the Hindi word champo, meaning to knead, massage or press. Mahomed offered therapeutic massages and herbal steam baths, treatments that he described as both relaxing and healing. His establishment, known as Mahomed's Baths, quickly became fashionable among the wealthy. Mahomed's fame grew, and soon he found himself serving the highest ranks of society. He was appointed shampooing surgeon to King George IV, and later held the same position under King William IV. To rise from an orphaned boy in Patna to a royal servant in Britain was an extraordinary journey, one that highlighted both his skill and his resilience. His baths were celebrated for their effectiveness, and he published further works explaining the benefits of his treatments. Looking back on his life, it is astonishing how many firsts Mahomed achieved. He was the first Indian to publish a book in English, the first to open a curry restaurant in Britain, the first to introduce the concept of shampooing to Europe, and the first Indian to serve as an official in the British royal household. He lived to the age of 92, passing away in 1851, and leaving behind a legacy of cultural exchange that continues to influence the world today. Mahomed's story teaches us many lessons. He was a man of adaptability, able to move from India to Ireland and then to England, reinventing himself each time. He showed resilience, turning failure into opportunity when his restaurant closed and building a new career with his baths. He was proud of his heritage and shared it openly, whether through food, literature, or medicine. And he was courageous, breaking barriers in love, business, and society. His pioneering spirit made him a true cultural bridge between East and West. And that was the inspiring life story of Sake Dean Mahomed, the Indian pioneer who brought curry, shampoo, and cultural understanding to Britain. At Little English Studio, we believe that learning English is more than just grammar and vocabulary. It is about exploring the lives of people who shaped our world in unexpected ways. What do you think about Mahomed's story? Did you know that the word shampoo comes from India? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another inspiring life journey. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story from Little English Studio, where English learning meets the world's most inspiring lives.